Hey everybody, welcome back to another reasonable price prediction, the series where we try to figure out where your favorite altcoins could be headed. Today we're back with Cardano and we're going to be taking a bit of a new perspective on the TA today, and we're going to be doing that by basically going through all the rallies Cardano has had throughout its lifetime, all the meaningful rallies, ones that have gone on for more than a few weeks and gone up more than a few percentage points. And we're going to see one by one how they compare to what we've recently experienced with Cardano, this last rally that took place in Q4 of 2023. So jumping straight into it, we'll go to when Cardano was launched back in October of 2017 and take a look at the move we got. We can see that over the space of 9 weeks, we moved up a total of just under 7,000%. We haven't seen anything like this recently in terms of the percentage move or the time frame. We can see recently, back in September, we went up 240% from the low to the peak, and that took place, or we rallied across a period of 26 weeks. So that first rally, not too much we can draw from that, not too much to compare to. Taking a look at the next one, however, 2019, we can see that they're not too dissimilar. If we take a look at the percentage move up that we made, we went up 320%. So still a bit of a distance away from the 240%, but much closer than the 7,000% we got in 2018. What about the time frame? Time frame 29 weeks. So pretty similar in the time frame that we made this move. Fair enough. We'll bookmark that one. We'll come back to it later as a possible comparison. Again, quick look at what we've seen since September. Pretty similar. Even in terms of the moves that we made, we get a little bit of a pullback close to the top, bit of a retracement, put in the high, get a bit of a pullback close to the top, bit of a retracement, move back up to the high. So pretty similar. What about 2020? Well, if we zoom in again, we can see that the time frame is not too dissimilar. It's not as close as 2018 was, but it's not too far away either. But we can see the percentage that we moved up, 735%, is more or less 3 times more than what we got from September 2023. So not too outlandish of a comparison. And I will propose a bit of a scenario where it could be very likely that we're actually seeing something like this that played out in 2020 happening today in kind of 2024, late 2023. But we'll come back to that later. So 2019 and 2020 bookmarked as possibilities. Looking at 2021, or sort of towards the ends of 2021, you can see September time is when we got this move up, or when we've moved from the low. You can see we went up 4,000%. This was the main bull run for Cardano. So again, way off with the percentage move that we made up. And this took place over basically 50 weeks. So double the time period that we saw last year. So not too comparable, although it is interesting how we do keep seeing this high that we first put in with Cardano, a bit of a retracement, and then a move up to a slightly higher high a few weeks later. We saw it here in 2021. We saw it here in 2023. We saw it here in also 2023. This 2023 and this 2023, or 2024, however you want to call it. We saw it back here in 2019, and you could kind of argue we saw it in 2020. We moved up, came down, and then moved up higher, but I wouldn't categorize that the same way. So it is interesting for Cardano and something to look out as a potential possibility with the next bull run or bull move or rally that we get. There is a potential that Cardano puts in a high, and then a very real potential that it does come back and put in a second higher high. And then finally, taking a look at the start of 2023, the move that we got was 100% of a move up from low to high, and this took place over 15 weeks, just over half of the time period that we saw at the end of 2023-2024. So you could actually argue that this was basically a 50% cut, or 50% in total of percentage move up and time spent to what we got here. And you wouldn't actually be too incorrect with that. You can see you're about double of the first move in 2024, double the move that we got in 2023. Okay, so going back to 2019 and 2020, the two rallies that look most similar to what we've had recently, and funnily enough, the two rallies that were 4 years ago, which kind of fits with the 4-year cycle theory. What do we get if we see a similar scenario like 2019 or 2020 play out? Well, in the case that you believe 2019 is the most similar, and again, quick recap, 2019 we saw 29 weeks of trending upwards from the low to the high, and we moved up a similar percentage amount, 320%. We also had similar moves in terms of the high, bit of a low and then a move back up. If you believe this is the scenario that's currently playing out, and you think that it will continue to follow the same way, which isn't unreasonable, you can expect Cardano to trade down for about 7 or 8 months, or at least until the end of the year, 6 months later. Again, in terms of time frame, what we've currently had, we started rallying towards the end of the year, October time, September time, and we peaked up back in March. So you're expecting us to come back to a low around October time, September time, more or less a year afterwards from where we started. So Q4 2024 is when you expect Cardano to bottom out. This more or less lines up with the 4-year cycle theory pretty smoothly. If you're not particularly inclined to believe that we are seeing something similar play out, or you're just not expecting us to follow a similar thing, you might want to compare us to 2020, exactly 4 years ago, or well, close to 4 years ago. And the reason you might consider this, again, is because plus 4 years, but as you can see, the moves aren't really very similar. We had a much more drastic move up, and it happened in a much shorter time frame. So why would I really draw this comparison? Well, if you just look at the rally in isolation, they're not very similar. However, if you look at the two rallies compared to each other, there are actually some interesting similarities that you can kind of piece together. If we take a look at 2019, we can see we got 320% of a move up over the space of 29 weeks. If we look at 2020 and compare the two, we can see we moved up 735% over the space of 19 weeks. We can see we got double the percentage move of the rally in 2019 in 2020. And again, if you look at what we got in 2023 and 2024, we got double or just over double percentage move of what we got the prior year. 2024 got double 2023 rally. Now, one of the interesting discrepancies here is that in 2019, this took a long time, and then 2020, it took a short amount of time, or shorter amount of time. And in current day, or the last 2 years, we saw a reverse of this. We got the shorter period of time first, and then we got the longer period of time after that. However, these two periods of time are pretty similar. And in fact, they're about 3 or 4 weeks minus on both ends. We got 4 weeks left, 15 from 19, and we got 3 weeks left with 26 to 29. So just some interesting discrepancies. Again, if you want to assume that this is what's happening, we're currently in the 2020 rally, then you really shouldn't be expecting any kind of a downturn. We should be in a bull run. And if we see how long we actually took to, from the high, move to our low or start to rally again when we were at the same price, it was about 18 weeks after the peak we returned to that price. If we take a look at where we currently are, from the peak, we go 18 weeks forward, you can see we only have 1 or 2 weeks left to return to these highs of 80 cents for Cardano, the highs that we were at back in March. I don't see that happening in 2 weeks. If it does, then, something similar is definitely playing out, because that would be basically a 2x in the space of 2 weeks. Not heard of in crypto, just not what I'm currently expecting. So for me, I would personally draw more from the 2019 rally. I think that's more similar to what we're experiencing in terms of the move up. And in terms of what happened afterwards, I think we're probably going to see something at least similar. But that is just my opinion. You can, of course, be inclined to believe whichever you want, or neither, of course. Just a bit of a thought experiment. Anyway, taking a look at the Bitcoin chart, you can see we're going to be doing the same thing. Again, taking a look at what we got at the end of 2023, you can see we did get a move up. It was much shorter, and it was to a lesser degree, but that's fine. That's usually what we see on the Bitcoin pair. Again, note that we didn't really get a rally at the start of 2023. We got this single green candle, but ever since then we've been trading down, lower highs, lower lows, and we've actually been doing that since the end of 2021. We didn't get a 2022 rally, we didn't get a 2023 rally. We've only now seen a bit of a rally, but we've continued to bleed back down. So just something to be aware of. Anyway, with this information, let's start comparing. So the first bull run Cardano got against its Bitcoin pair, we can see 9 weeks, so a much similar time frame, but the percentage move was about 3,500. Not very similar in terms of the percentage move. However, if you do look at how the move played out, we can see we got a couple of green weeks, followed by a red week, followed by a few more green weeks. We got a similar thing where we had a couple of green weeks, 2 red weeks instead of 1, and then a couple more green weeks. Bit flimsy of a comparison, if I'm being honest with you. I'm just trying to find something here aside from the time frame that's comparable. But realistically, I would disregard this. Looking at 2019, remember this is the one that looked quite similar on the US dollar chart. We can see that the time frame is double what we've experienced at the end of 2023, but the percentage move is similar enough. Again, we're getting 133% of a move here. Looking back at the recent day, we got 100% of a move up, so not bad. If we take a look at the volume, however, we can see that during this rally, we can see we got 3.2 million in trading volume. Looking back at 2019, we can see that we got 2 billion. So we're getting 1% of what we got back in 2019. Now, whether you want to disregard this comparison because of the trading volume, or you just want to say it's the same move, but the coin is obviously much weaker now, that's up to you to decide. But ultimately, I don't think it's a bullish thing to see such small trading volume numbers. Looking at 2020, we can see we've got over double, close to triple the amount of the percentage move up. We got 270 here, and this took place over triple the amount of time. So again, interesting comparison in terms of a similar move, but to a magnitude of kind of 3, and it's not a bad comparison. Again, 2020 on the US dollar chart was one of the more similar rallies to what we got at the end of 2023. So not something to totally disregard, something to maybe look into further yourself. We'll also have a quick look back at it once we've finished our comparison. Finally, our last rally that we've had really on Cardano since the end of 2021 was, of course, at the start of 2021, the most famous bull run for Cardano. And again, taking a look, we moved up 1,200%, and this happened over a space of 35 weeks. Not too similar to what we've had at the end of 2023, but again, just a little thing to point out. The lower high, the retracement, and then up to the higher high. We saw this a lot on the US dollar chart with Cardano's rallies. Just something to be aware of as well on the Bitcoin chart. However, this is the only real example that we get of it happening on the Bitcoin chart. We can see that if we go back over the previous rallies, we haven't really had it before. So maybe perhaps it was just chance. Who knows? It's probably not that important. So I think it's safe to say, or at least for this video, I'm going to disregard 2021 and 2018 in terms of comparisons for what we got in 2023. And we're going to take a look at what we could potentially see coming if we think it's 2019 or 2020. Looking at 2019, after our rally peaked out, we can see that we spent, if we measure it really quickly, going down to the lows, we spent 22 weeks trading down. Now, if we take a look at how long we've been trading down on the Bitcoin pair, you can see that from this peak to the low, it's been 27 weeks, but for the first time in a very long time, Cardano has had 2 green weeks. Now, I am recording this on a Thursday, so this could very well turn red by the end of the week, but there's a good chance that it at least stays green. So that's something very interesting. Again, last time we got 2 consecutive green weeks was here, this rally, where we got a crazy move of from open to close over those 2 weeks, 42%. And if you're including wicks, you're probably looking at about 80 or 100%. So maybe don't expect this move, but again, something bullish. So, okay, that's 2019. We could expect a pretty bad time in terms of how long we trade down for. In this time frame, we dropped 80%. If we check how far we've dropped now, again, from the high to the very low that we wicked to, it was about minus 64%. So again, quite a noticeable difference in terms of the drop and the time it took us to drop there. But this could very well, what we're seeing now, be the reversal. And if it is a 2019 situation, that very much could be the case. Now, notice that back in 2019, even though we bottomed out after about 2 weeks, we still traded sideways for at least 7 or 8 months after that bottoming out. So even though we've had 2 green weeks consecutively here, we can see that we also got that, funnily enough, back in 2019, and that basically led nowhere. And you could argue we basically returned to the all-time lows for Cardano. So if it's 2019 and you think it's going to play out the same way that it does afterwards, you're looking at a Q1 or at least at the earliest Q4 this year until we start to see a bull run on the Bitcoin pair for 2019. However, taking a look at 2020, we can see that from the high to the low, we moved down 66%, so very, very similar, and this move down happens over 22 weeks. Now, I think that is eerily similar to the 27 weeks that we trade down from pretty similar time frame. Again, the other is 22 weeks, so you can almost disregard the time frame for the both of those, as they're both the same. And if you're just comparing the two, and the time frames are both the same, there's no difference in the comparison on that front. So mainly looking at percentage move down, we moved down 64%, and allowing for some kind of human error, we're probably 65% move down. That's more or less spot on in terms of the percentage move down that we got. So in my opinion, on the Bitcoin chart, we look more like 2020. However, on the US dollar chart, we look more like 2019. We could be seeing something new. We could be seeing a combination of the both. Who knows? But ultimately, what we know from 2020, if we're still keeping up this comparison, if we are in a 2020 situation, and it's going to play out very similarly, this here, these 2 weeks, are the start of our bull run on the Bitcoin pair. So we could very well be seeing the start of the bull run taking place here. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide, and do remember that it could be neither of these situations. We could very likely be seeing something completely brand new take place. But again, depending on what your current thesis or alignment is with the crypto space, you're probably going to see what fits your theory better, as will I. But I always think it's really interesting to see what happened in previous cycles and previous rallies. I think there's always something we can draw from historical price action. And especially as it's such a young asset class, I don't think you should be surprised if we see new things play out. We don't have models for the crypto space that have stood the test of time. In best case scenario for an altcoin, 10 years is a truly ancient alt, and 10 years is nowhere near enough time to have seen most of the things happen in an asset class. So what's most likely happening, and what's most likely to continue to happen, is that we'll just keep getting new things. And of course, this has to be the case because otherwise making these videos, they'd be too easy. I wouldn't have to spend hours looking for comparisons. We'd just be stuck in a loop, and everyone would be able to know exactly where the price is going, and everyone would be able to make money, which of course will realistically never happen. If it does, crypto's got bigger problems than price analysis. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike too, that's totally fine. Consider clicking the video up here, as the AI Google overlords think you want to watch it. It's a video specifically recommended for you. Or you can click my face over here to subscribe to the channel and check out my other Cardano and other altcoin video analysis. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care and peace.